Welcome to 4.1.1, part 2. So this would be question 4.2, the line of best fit. So scatter plots are usually used to display real world data, which does not usually follow a perfect pattern. All right. So again, you're not always going to see all the dots together making a perfect line, right? So again, it's used to display real world data that we can use pretty much to determine to see if there's a trend, right? Something that can help us make predictions. All right. So now it says mathematicians decided that if there is a linear trend in the scatter plot, they can approximate the average of the points by drawing a line through the middle of the main trend. Sorry. They did not consider, so they did not consider outliers. Outliers. Now, an outlier would be pretty much like if most of your data is all bunched up, like in the middle or something, right? And then an outlier would be just something that's like either completely away from the data, either above it or below it. All right. So it's pretty much something that is completely off the data. So that's why one of the reasons we don't consider it. After they identify a reasonable line for the data, they calculate the slope. All right, so we always calculate the slope and the y-intercept of the line itself. And then it says they use the slope and the y-intercept to write an equation that would help predict pretty much other missing a word right there. So that would help predict other situations, right? All right. So now let's look at pretty much how example one says identifying the most accurate line of best fit in scatter plots. So the scatter plots below show data data comparison of the age of a child and the cost of a birthday gift for that child, which has the most accurate line best fit. All right. So again, remember the line of best fit is the one that has to have like in the middle of most of the dots, right? So if you notice here, we have a few outliers. Like I could say that's an outlier right there. Those are really above. And now here I would say that the answer, the one that's pretty much hitting most of the points, would be answer C. It says the other two options are either too high or too low and seem to be trying to include the outliers. All right. So the outliers. So that's pretty much again, we can consider them, but if they're outliers, they're going to pull our data, our line of best fit in the incorrect direction. All right, so let's do some practice problems. This is for each scatter plot to tell which line of best fit is the most accurate. So on the first one, if you guys notice, we have here our line, our data points right there, data points right there, and then this one's completely off, right? So D cannot be one of those, right? So all right. This one, most of the data is below it. All right. Most of the data is below it. And then on this one, on B, I would say most of the data is above it. This one has like pretty even distribution, right? You see data above and below the line. So I would say here A is the correct answer. And then the correlation for this, since it is a line that is going down from left to right, let's say it's a negative correlation. Okay. And then from there, we're going to go to part two. So again, we're looking to see for which one of these hits most of the points right in the middle, right? So A looks pretty close, has a lot of dots below it though. B, it looks a lot closer, right? Has an even amount of dots on the top and at the bottom. C has a lot of dots over here, doesn't hit most of it in the middle, and then D has all most of the dots below the line. So for this one, I would say B is the line of best fits, and then this one has a positive correlation. And then finally, question three. Again, which one of these four would have the best line of best fits? So A, if you guys notice, again, we have a lot of the dots below it right there. This one is not even following the pattern of the dots, right? So we can throw that one away. This one has most of the dots on top, right? And then this one has dots on top and at the bottom. So here we would say that the answer is D. And again, the correlation for this, since it is going down from left to right, we would say it's negative, right? So negative correlation.